Well, it's time for 1991's Dragon Ball game. From this point on, they come out almost exactly 1 year apart. The second weekend in August, every time. I couldn't find any significance to that choice of release date. It doesn't tie into the start of the show's season, or when movies were released. Bandai just seems to think early August is the right time for Dragon Ball Z. Of course, Dragon Ball Z is the wildly popular comic and cartoon about Goku, a down-on-his-luck young guy in a world beset by devils, monsters tied to humanity's fear, and whose strength is determined by how much the world fears their domain. An act of kindness leads Goku to become permanently bonded with the Chainsaw Devil, and with the abilities he gained from that, he's recruited into an organization hunting for the Gun Devil, a devil so overwhelmingly powerful that when it appeared, it devastated the world in a matter of minutes. Dragon Ball Z2 Gekishin Freeza covers the exact portion of the show that you'd expect. It begins with a bunch of the characters traveling to a distant planet to search for Dragon Balls, and ends with beating up Frieza. The game system is almost identical to the one that Bandai has been using for the previous 3 games. It plays out almost in a board game fashion. You have a hand of 5 cards, where the dots in the upper left-hand corner represent attack power and how many squares you can move, while the number in the lower right-hand corner represents defensive power. The symbol in the middle represents different groups: the people who trained under the Turtle Hermit, the people who trained under God, the people who trained under the Devil's Kid, and Frieza's crew. There's also one extra card that represents using a special ability. First, you play a card and move that many squares. For the first couple hours of the game, you're just on a straight path, but once you get to the planet, then you can move around more freely. Before you move, you also have the opportunity to use a card from your inventory. These will do things like heal you, recover your battle energy, and some of the cards will change the cards in your hand. Once you reach a space, you're given your choice of 8 cards. 4 of them are negative things, and 4 of them are positive. For the negative events, you could get an item stolen or have an encounter with something, but most likely you'll be attacked. The positive cards will do things like heal you, and sometimes you'll find training underneath them, which will let you build up your skills. There isn't really a way to know which you're going to draw, unless you have the scouter item, in which case it shows you the spots with bad events. Combat is really the best way to improve your energy level, which is how you determine how strong you are in combat. So you'll need to do a lot of it in order to make it through the whole game. In combat, you have the opportunity to spend all of your cards. You pick a character, and then you pick a card to play on them. If the symbol on the card matches the character type, then the effect is increased. Battles play out with characters matching up against whoever they chose to attack, with the exact same animations playing over and over again for an extended time. It takes a very long time to play through a combat here, and with the exception of animations for special moves, you'll have seen pretty much everything that happens in combat by the time you finish your second fight. Early on, the fights can be so deadly that I really recommend saving after every turn. This way, you don't get pounded by 3 or 4 fights in a row. If a character is almost knocked out, they'll be in a pinch, and their attacks are extra effective. If they do get knocked out, they're not dead, but you do have to heal them to full health before they'll rejoin the fight. In that early journey stage of the game, you really need to play your lowest movement cards every time. You can't go backwards, and you have to grind up levels before you reach the planet, otherwise you'll get stuck. So playing fast movement cards means less encounters, which means less experience. And in case you didn't notice it, this whole time that I've been talking about the combat system was one single combat round. Besides the story mode, there's a tournament battle as well, where you can pull in characters from your save games and have them take part in a large-scale fight. You can also use passwords from the previous game to import characters from there. When you're fighting like this, you just choose a random card, so you don't really have control over the outcome. The only significant factor is who has been leveled up. There's a nostalgia for these Dragon Ball Z games in Japan that I really just don't get. They're not good games, at all, but it's still really easy to find people talking about how much they love them. My take on it is that Dragon Ball Z2 continues to use the not very good combat system from the previous games. It plays way too slowly, and it punishes players to the point where they might ruin their game and have to start over. Did you save your game because you reached a milestone and then found out that you're too weak to go on? Well, just start the game over from the beginning, I guess. And the weird thing is, these are some of the better games from the Tosei Bandai team. Maybe people are fond of these because they remember all of the other licensed games that Bandai put out.